when something like this happens, Kristen. So is it felt at the UN headquarters that the organisation is taking any kind of lead in this, or is it being left to individual countries to say whatever they think?
Well, we've heard from the United States Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and also the British Prime Minister calling on the United Nations or pointing to the United Nations as the place where perhaps the international community could most effectively deal with the situation in Libya and put pressure on Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. So there's been talk about coming to the United Nations, but we haven't seen any concrete action here yet. The talk is all taking place at this stage behind closed doors between countries, which is not unusual here at the United Nations. For any kind of strong resolution to be put forward, it takes a lot of negotiating, a lot of time to work that out, particularly between the permanent 5 members of the Security Council who all hold veto power. So while there is talk about coming to the United Nations, there has yet to be an official, formal Security Council meeting on the issue, with the exception of a brief meeting on Tuesday where the Council came out with a statement condemning the violence there, but stopping short of naming Gaddafi himself or putting any direct pressure on him. And part of the problem is when you get into condemning a country for this kind of action, it puts members of the Council in an uncomfortable position and opens up their own record to scrutiny. Remember, China cracked down on protesters in Tiananmen Square not too long ago, killing many protesters there. So the argument that you hear often from countries like China and Russia is that what's happening in Libya is an internal matter, not a matter of international peace and security, and therefore not the Council is not the place to discuss this. So countries like Russia and China have to be won over in order for there to be any action coming out of the Security Council, and that just hasn't happened
And while
yet.
you're doing that, while you're trying to persuade, trying to get together some kind of agreement on the Security Council, which is always very difficult, is there any kind of unity when it comes to talking about the abuse of human rights within Libya, most specifically, you know, the shootings and the beatings that we've seen in the last week or so?
Well, there was a very strong statement from the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner, Navi Pillay, criticizing what's happening there, calling for a no-fly zone over Libya. And there's an emergency meeting of the Human Rights Council that's going to take place on Friday and on Monday. And in fact, Hillary Clinton and other foreign ministers are expected to attend that meeting to try to come up with some sort of consensus and some sort of reaction to what's happening. But again, the situation there, the Human Rights Commission, which is in Geneva, is a bit predictive of what's the situation at the Security Council. Already there have been divisions with China, Russia, Cuba not wanting to support a resolution that's being drafted for the Human Rights Commission about the situation there. So again, there's concern about opening up one country to this kind of scrutiny, that the spotlight could then be turned on these other countries who will also, frankly, have questionable records when it comes to dealing with political dissent.
Kristen Salumi in New York, thank you very much indeed, with the UN building behind you there. Now, Kevin's with me, talk about the weather. If it weren't for the fact that we've got these momentous events going on, I know we would be focusing on what's happening down at Cape Canaveral. Absolutely. Discovery's about to take off. I saw it take off. Did you? I was there.
Well, this is the last one. Take a look at the video we have of the previous flights of the shuttle. Now, we are looking today at the last flight of the shuttle. It first started in 1984. It's been flying for 27 years, believe it or not. 39 missions. It's the most flown shuttle in history. And we're looking at...
I saw this one go up in 1988, the first one after the Challenger disaster, and it was the most exciting thing I've ever seen. The ground shook.
It is.
It was unbelievable.
It's amazing to see. I saw one.
It's the last one.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you what the weather is. Let's take a look at what's happening down in Cape Canaveral. Today we are in less than about 8 hours or so. We're going to see the space shuttle go up for the very last time. We're looking at some fairly nice weather down there. They have an 80% chance of takeoff, and really that's really not going to change over the next couple of hours. What we do have to worry about is what's going to happen tomorrow. Now, if the shuttle was taking off tomorrow, we are going to be seeing some very heavy rain showers pushing through, so they picked the right day to go. Here's those heavy rain showers right here going along the eastern seaboard. Up to the north, though, we're going to be seeing some very heavy rain showers and snow. Montreal, you're going to be seeing some very snowy conditions, travel delays possibly, and out to the west, we're going to be seeing some rain for parts of San Francisco as well as Los Angeles. Now, speaking of rain down in parts of South America, we're particularly talking about Bolivia as well as into Peru. Very heavy rain showers have inundated those two areas. We have seen about 7,000 people displaced in Bolivia as well as 3,500 people displaced in Peru. More rain in the forecast, as you can see right here. That is going to be a problem over the next couple of days. We expect landslides, mudslides to be a problem there. And very quickly over towards Europe, we are going to be looking at some very heavy rain showers across the central part of Europe, and that's going to cause some flooding there.
Now, Julian Assange, the man from WikiLeaks, has found out whether or not he's going to be extradited to Sweden to face sex crime accusations. And we'll tell you what the verdict was in just a moment. And Muammar Gaddafi has long considered himself the father of Pan-Africanism. How will the events in his country, Libya, affect its relationship with its neighbours? Stay with us if you can, here on Al Jazeera.
It's 36 to 38 degrees Celsius. No higher, no lower. It's soft, but not too soft. It's just enough to smooth things out. It's all of this, halfway to anywhere, with plenty of time to spare. The Qatar Airways Premium Terminal in Doha. 5-star service for first and business class passengers. Qatar Airways, world's 5-star airline.
As geeks take on dictators, bloggers turn dissidents, and social networks root for social justice, governments are going cyber, spying on their citizens, erecting firewalls like iron curtains, and closing down websites. We ask, is cyber-generated change virtual or real? Empire at this time on Al Jazeera.
Good to have you with us on this Al Jazeera News Hour. David Foster here, reminding you of what's happening right now in Libya. And these are the latest pictures. Gun battles in the streets of Zawiya. Now, this is about 50 kilometers west of Tripoli. Now, according to state television, this is the town to which Gaddafi planned or still plans to go to make a television address, which we are